Welcome to Cookies and Cream.
A podcast about life, marriage, race, and whatever else we want to talk about.
I'm Matt.
I'm Maya.
And we're a Christian mixed couple.
Sharing our experiences one episode at a time. Yo, yo, yo.
What it do? What it do?
Hey,
what it do? What it do? What it do?
Hey, what it do?
What it do? Cookies and Cream, the podcast. Okay.
I think that we need to box that up.
What, make that our new intro?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Next episode we'll start with that. Sound off in the comments if you if you want the next episode to start with that.
Okay, I just kind of forgot that we were actually recording.
What's up, guys?
So I'm here. Hi.
Hello, podcast listeners. We are recording a podcast, and we decided that we're going to start trying a new thing at the beginning of our episodes. Mm-hmm. Because we always do our little banter, our little witty chit-chat at the at the beginning of our podcast episodes. And we thought, let's just do a little structured check-in, a little just kind of fun, off-the-top thing. So working title is Right Here, Right Now for this little little segment.
Super quick.
Super quick little, tell the people what we're going to talk about in this segment.
So basically, we'll just talk about, can you hear me? Are we good?
You're good.
Okay.
You're good. You're on the mic.
Basically, we'll just talk about, what are we listening to? What are we reading? What's going on with the kids? What's going on in life? But, in, a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to start. You go. Right here, right now. Give it to me.
Right here, right now. Books. I'm listening to Gay Girl, Good God.
Oh, I was like, you said books and then listening to. I was like, you're already off. I got in your way. I'm sorry. Audiobooks exist.
And Destiny to the Republic, of the Republic, and probably 4 other books, but that's what I'm kind of focused on right now.
Tell the people about those books really quick.
Nope. Books.
Oh, dang. I just finished reading The Splendid and the Vile, which is an Eric Larson book about Winston Churchill. It's about Winston Churchill. No one knows by the title alone. It's about Winston Churchill during the Blitz. And I am also kind of reading The Hobbit, kind of reading Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I also just finished Gentle and Lowly, and which is great. Then I read...
You have an inability to go fast.
I'm sorry.
You've taken 30 seconds of the minute.
I'm a long-winded man. All right, you go. All right, anyway.
Okay, that is kind of important, though. Gay Girl, Good God by Jackie Hill Perry.
That's what I'm saying. We got to contextualize a little bit. Come on.
Destiny of the Republic.
Candace Millard.
By Candace Millard, yeah. About James Garfield.
He was the president at one point, and then he died.
All right, music. Lately, I have been listening to this new artist. His name is Noble. And he's awesome. He's my husband. Matthew came out with an original song. It's amazing. It's called Faithful and True. Go look it up. His name on Spotify is Noble, with a period.
All caps with a period.
Yeah. And it's so good. I'm very biased, obviously, but it is a fantastic song.
Thank you.
And he wrote it all himself. So go listen to that. And he has new social medias for it and everything. So do that. I'm
working on maybe an album, so...
Definitely an album, not maybe.
Yeah, that'll be coming. Anyway.
Okay.
What else are you listening to? You can't just be listening to that. No, I'm embarrassed. Say something.
Okay, Elevation Rhythm. I've been listening to their last 2 albums a lot.
This is the gospel.
Yeah, This is the Gospel and Victory Lap.
Victory, it's got some good songs on it. Okay, I have been listening to, I would say the biggest thing I've been in a... kind of a 90s, early 2000s rabbit hole with a lot of my stuff. I got into Oasis, the most British 90s band ever. Mm-hmm. And I've been kind of obsessed with them a little bit. They're
the band that wrote Wonderwall?
Yeah.
Okay.
And after all, you're my Wonderwall. Today is gonna be the day. Sorry.
Please not.
I think Stop Crying Your Heart Out is my favorite song by them right now. But also I've been listening to some U2 and then early John Mayer, kind of been my vibe. And I don't know.
All right, kid update. Ezra starts school on...
We didn't do wait, hold on. We don't have to go this fast.
We do. When we asked your dad about it, he said, okay, you can do it and it'll be great, but don't make it long.
We have to do watching, and we haven't done shows.
We're not watching anything.
I watched Afterlife.
Okay. Fine. You finished it?
No, I've been watching Afterlife on Netflix.
Like, we just started.
Ricky Gervais. Quarterback. Watching the Quarterback documentary series.
We're watching Platonic.
Platonic on Apple TV. Really funny.
It is really
funny.
Really
well done. What else? We just watched something.
I don't know. I've abandoned everything I'm watching on my own.
Anyway, okay, move on. Sorry.
Oh, we've watched a lot of GMM lately.
Oh yeah, Good Mythical Morning.
Yeah.
Been super into that. And okay. Kid update. You go.
Kid update. Ezra starts school
a week from today.
Which preschool. Which is lots of emotions. Not many updates on Lizzie. She's crawling and climbing me now.
She was mad fussy today.
Yeah, they both were.
They were up too late last night.
Yeah.
But she's starting to like say some little mama, dad type stuff.
I mean, she's been saying that for a while, but now she's like saying it over and over again.
Yeah. And our kids are starting to like to play with each other, which is cute. Mm-hmm. I asked Ezzy what his favorite part of his day today was, and he said, hanging out with Eliza, which I thought was very cute.
All right.
Yeah.
That's here, right now.
That's our right here, right now. And that's life in 60 seconds.
The fact that you still said it after you by yourself made that segment like 3.5 minutes.
That's life in 490 seconds. Yeah. Right here, right now.
All right. Working title.
We may come back to it.
We might not ever do that again. We'll see.
We'll see. But let's get to the contents of this episode.
Yeah. So today we're talking about church. Just church. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are in a weird and hard season when it comes to church in general.
Yeah.
Church in general, our church specifically. So we just kind of want to talk about like why, what's going on, where our hearts are at,
how we've like sort of been working through it or talking through it at least. We don't have this is not a post anything episode. We're still in the middle of it. Yeah.
It's smack dab, right?
Smack dab.
Okay. Just making sure.
I just imagine slapping someone and then dabbing really hard.
Okay.
Smack dab. But yeah, it's kind of like, I think we're just going to title this We're Struggling with Church.
Yeah.
Which is maybe like a bit dramatic sounding, but
it's not for me.
It's accurate, yeah. Mainly for you, but and kind of to contextualize this a little bit, I guess. I thought we could start by talking about kind of our individual backgrounds with church and just kind of like the church cultures that we grew up in and stuff to sort of like figure out or talk about how we got to this point.
Yeah, and we can do it pretty quickly. I'm sure we've already talked about this.
Yeah, I think we have, but you go first.
Okay, so for me, from the time I was 7 until I graduated high school, I went to the same Black Baptist church.
Praise break.
You're so loud.
Sorry.
You're going to have to turn that part down.
No, I'm going to let the people's ears be annihilated.
Okay. Yeah, it was a pretty big church. It was black, It was a Black Baptist church, and that's all I've got. Gospel,
music.
Yeah.
Real lively.
Real lively, for sure.
People speaking
in tongues. It wasn't like Kojic. No, that wasn't the vibe. I wasn't seeing people speak in tongues on stage, but...
You said it happened.
We were definitely, like, doing solos during praise and worship, and, like, the pianist was always up there. Like, that was the...
Tell him, Pastor.
Yeah. We had a tambourine lady. But it wasn't like the pastors were getting up out of their chairs that they sat on stage.
The throne room.
Yeah. It wasn't like they were getting up and church stomping on stage. Like, that was not... It wasn't that charismatic. And, like...
Okay.
But we did have praise dancers and, like...
Did you have the ribbons?
Only during praise dancing.
But, like, you had ribbons.
Yes, only during praise dancing. It wasn't like there at any point on any Sunday, there will be people running down the aisles with ribbons. It was literally like a prop for dance.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And, I mean, also just talk about kind of, you say, you talk a lot about what it was like being in that church and also just how, I don't know, different it is from the white evangelical world And even just like you say a lot like that you had never heard the word theology or what, like stuff like that. Just like what the teaching was like and all that.
Okay. This is really hard for me to talk about because I just don't feel like I remembered enough of it concretely, enough to actually talk about it. But yeah, I don't remember hearing the word theology growing up, or like words like just like super Christianese words that are used a lot in academic spaces.
Yeah.
Like theology, doctrine, I don't know, just words like that. And even the ones that describe certain things like Calvinist, and I'd never heard any of those.
Like the different, you weren't super in tune with the fact, like the different Christian sects and like
no, not at all. So when I left that to go to seminary, I was going to a Southern Baptist seminary, a
white
evangelical Southern Baptist seminary.
Yeah.
I did not know. I thought that all Christianity was the same. I thought there was Christianity and then there was not Christianity. Basically, there are some denominations that think that they are Christians and they're probably not, or think that they're preaching the gospel and they're not. And then there's all the Christians, all the people who believe the gospel. Basically, that was the two distinctions.
Yeah.
Within that giant group, obviously there are different races and cultures and whatever else, but I had no idea that I was walking into a completely different world. I never would have chosen that school had I known that.
Yeah.
Because I just would have been like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Well, yeah, you were one of, I mean, I feel so bad for you that you didn't know going into it.
I had no idea.
'Cause you were one of maybe 5 black people and 2 black females on the campus.
1.
You were the only. What about? Oh wait, she came later. Never mind. So it was just you. Yeah.
I was the only black female.
Let's just say you stood out.
I made it on the little flags on the on campus, like the little flags on the street. I made
you were
it
the
on
face
those.
of that place.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Actually, was I on a flag or was I just on a big portrait in the MSC? It might have just been a big portrait.
I don't know. Anyway.
But yeah, I was the diversity hire.
You have anything else about your church background?
Not really. I mean, there were definitely some things that I look back on as much as I can remember them. And they were not right in the way that they were being taught, in the way that a lot of the leadership that I was around, like the way that they were, I guess.
Just the way they functioned and operated.
Yeah. There was a lot of dysfunction within, at the very least, the teen church that I was a part of. Because it wasn't super often that we were actually with the adults because we had church during church. But yeah, there was just a lot of dysfunction. And a lot of things that I just disagree with. And a lot of things that I went into school and into marriage thinking and believing that I realized like, oh, why was I taught it like that? That's not what it says. Like, or that's just not in the Bible. I don't know. That's like a saying. I don't know where we got that, but
cleanliness is next to godliness.
Yeah, I don't know. There were definitely a lot of those things that I was just like, I don't know where we went wrong here. Which is not to say that it's a bad church or that they're not preaching truth, because I just don't know.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't.
Especially if you weren't in the adult church hardly at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Not only was I not in the adult church, but I was so depressed the last couple of years there where I would have actually been like
old enough to
be understanding things. So I don't remember much from those years.
You got anything else?
I don't think so. You go ahead, and if you say something that I should have said, I'll say it.
Okay. Well, I don't know if opposite is the right word, but
I do have something else.
Yes. I prompted you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say also I was very, very involved, and works were a very large part of the culture at the church that I grew up at. There was a lot about doing things. Not like it saved you. That was not being preached, but
maybe subtextually.
That was not being preached from the pulpit. But yeah, just a lot. Like there was a year, I always say this, there was a year where I was at the church maybe 6 or 7 days a week, maybe 6 days a week.
Goodness gracious.
Where I literally was in like a bunch of ministries, and I'm in drama ministry. I'm in the 100-year committee ministry. I'm filming a video for church. I'm like just constantly there. Which part of that was probably not wanting to be at home, but that was a big part of my faith.
Yeah.
Growing up, just like my association with works and like doing good and proving myself with what I was doing. That'll be important later.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Foreshadowing. Yeah, I would say as much as there could be a background that was, it's not like, I wasn't Catholic or something. Like that would be the opposite. But it was very different for me. And I think the best way I could summarize my church background is just that the seminary, Midwestern Seminary, was just specifically for me. Like there could not have been a better token seminary kid from the exact kind of white evangelical church background who has the Reformed theology and is super committed to, just learning doctrine, wants to be a pastor, and like wore the jeans and the brown loafers and had the leather bag, and like I was that. And the church that I grew
also
up in,
this is not like a caricature or something. Like,
no,
these are literal. This was you.
You said that you always say that when you first met me on campus, that like for the first few times you would not have remembered it was me because I looked like every other dude.
Yeah, it was bad.
Dressed like every other person. Anyway, you on the other hand were not hard to pick out.
No.
Anyway,
I remember there was one day where I was trying to find you in chapel, and you texted me. You're like, "I'm sitting over here," and I was like, "Matthew." The back of your head looks like the back of everyone else's head in here.
Oh man. But no, I just the church that I grew up in and where my dad was on staff for 12 years it's a really, really solid church, really good teaching and just good roots and whatever. But it was just kind of it was your standard. It was evangelical free, so it wasn't actually like an SBC church, but doctrinally Reformed Baptist, and very, worship were pretty subdued. It was a lot about singing songs that had a lot of doctrine in them, and the church was very set up for just a lot of community, but there was also a lot of kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of buttoned up, the vibe of the worship, but just the culture in general. It was like not really much spirit. Like it was a lot about just, we're gonna preach the word and we're gonna sing songs together, but it was all very like kind of subdued, stale, like we'd all stand there with our hands at our sides, and that's sort of just the way that we are. There was no element of it that was like, exciting, I guess. It was just because that's like that's a subsection of Christianity where like your reverence looks like being very still and very quiet and very like, it wouldn't be honoring to God for us to be loud or for the worship to be performative or whatever.
Yeah, we don't want to be distracting.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, the heart behind that is really, really good, because it's like in the worship you don't want to be taking away from the lyrics by being a show off. Like that's what this was kind of the thought behind it. And
I do want to put a disclaimer that none of the things that we're pointing out, well, some of the things, we'll say it if it is, but we're not saying these things are wrong.
No.
Like, they're just different.
They're also maybe like not wrong, but also not the only way.
Yeah.
And they're not biblical.
They're not right.
They're not
either.
biblical mandates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not like, hey, church is supposed to be this way, and this is right to do, or this is wrong to do.
Yeah, I guess correct or incorrect.
Yeah, exactly.
Better than right or wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, because there are definitely wrong ways to do things that are not explicitly said not to do in the Bible. But Anyway, it was just like, yeah, not necessarily, it was just a silo. That's all it was. It was just one, I had to burp. One way of doing it.
Are you good?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay.
I had like a bubble in my chest. Anyway. I don't know. And so that culture of buttoned up Reformed evangelical was exactly what the seminary was. And if honestly, I really thank the Lord, I think that I met you and like got to know you and got to see your background and your culture, because if I had not, I would have been in the place that a lot of people are in, where that's just where you live your entire life. Mm-hmm. That's your circle, that's your bubble, and you think that anyone else is just misguided or they're not interpreting the Bible correctly or whatever. And so like, that's just, it's so cool that I got that seminary bubble got burst for me, mm-hmm. and that I can kind of see things more broadly now and see that there are a lot of different expressions of worship, but also just like of being indwelled by the Spirit, you know, and that people who are express their faith very differently, mm-hmm. that's not just wrong, and they should just get on the right track and whatever.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's like my background plus a really helpful and good evolution that's happened for me since we've been married. But yeah.
Okay. So moving on. How I put he, not how.
We ended up here.
How we ended up at our church.
Our current church, yeah.
So when we got married,
2020,
we had been going to different churches, and then COVID happened. So we weren't really going to church mostly at all.
Yeah, there were some like, you know, you'll watch it do virtual something, but yeah.
Yeah. But we got married, moved to Great Bend, started going to the church that you grew up in.
Yes.
Can I not do that with the cord?
I was looking at you, kinking it a little bit. Unless you're into that.
Okay. I'll leave the cord alone. I'll leave the cord alone. I'll leave the cord alone.
Fidget with something else.
But anyway, we went to the church that you grew up in, and I did not like it at all.
Yeah, that was a rough
I was unhappy for the entire, were we there 8 months? For the entire 8 months that we were there, it was a fight every Sunday.
Yeah.
Because it mattered so much to you that we were there, and I hated it and did not want to be there. And also, I just didn't grow up with you have to be there every single Sunday. It is the most important thing. Nothing is more important than this. That you did.
Yeah, that's another important point to throw in there, is that I was also a pastor's kid.
Yeah.
And so I was like, my involvement and my relationship with church was very, like performance-based was how I thought of it. But then also, it was just like, church is not optional. Mm-hmm. You are there, butt in the seat every Sunday, or else almost, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's what you have to do. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, for you, church was connected to like your home life, to discipline, to your public image. Like it was all
all wrapped up.
And for me, we would not go to church for months at a time.
Yeah.
And then get back into it and be super duper involved. When I say we, I mean me and my siblings, mainly me and my sister below me, not my whole family. But yeah, that was like,
it was not this militant like
no
requirement for you.
No, it wasn't. And so I have never seen church the way that you saw church.
Yeah.
And I was like, it is not this big of a deal. So we were fighting about it all the time, like on a weekly basis.
You didn't want to go. I was like
miserable.
And I was just like so unloving and harsh to you about like, we have to be there. It's what we're like, it's a requirement of us.
Yeah, neither of us was giving though.
Oh no.
We were both being very selfish.
Yeah.
And I was kind of being a brat, but
it was a bad time for you to start going to any church also. It was COVID, and so it was like
yeah. But yeah, so once we moved up here, we were pregnant already. We started looking for churches. Mm-hmm. I was just excited to be somewhere I liked, honestly. The church that I went to in college, I really liked. and I missed, and I wanted to go back. And so that was the first church we visited, and it was not good, honestly.
Well, it was probably about 2 months that we were attending pretty regularly, but it was like we struggled with it was a really beautiful like building, really huge church that like 4 services. It was in this old kind of like cathedral building, and the worship was, you loved the worship.
I really, really loved the worship.
It was just beautiful. It was a very wide range of types of songs, and just like they would do like gospel Sundays where they would have full on like gospel singers and whatever. But we had the hardest time meeting anyone, getting connected in any way. Like we tried.
And to be fair, this was 2021.
Yeah.
Like the summer of 2021. We were not being super social. Like it wasn't like we were trying super hard to constantly be, hey, I'm this person. What's your name? I think I had so much social anxiety from COVID.
Yeah.
I think I'm still recovering from that. But
well, also don't like, I mean, it was part of the culture of this church too.
It was part of it, but I'm just saying it wasn't like we were constantly going up to people and being ignored.
No.
But there were times where we did, and it just was like, okay, well, bye. Or like trying to meet the pastor, and it amounted to nothing. And it was like barely even a conversation.
Yeah, he wants nothing to do with talking to you. And also, I think the final straw for us with that church was we went to like, they had like a fall festival. And it was like this big thing where it's like the whole point of it is that you get to go and, you know, just meet people, socialize, hang out. And we like walked around that thing for an hour, just like looking for someone to talk to, somewhere to sit, like any point of connection we could make. Like all the pastors were there, but they're all kind of
talking to each other,
like in these insulated little circles. And we finally just like had to go and ask someone if we could sit at their table. And it was this group of like 5 people who were together.
We were painting pumpkins.
Yeah. And we tried to socialize with them, and they were nice.
Yeah, we did. We like exchanged numbers with a couple of them.
Yeah.
We were like, do you guys have small groups? And they were like, oh yeah, you can come to mine. And like,
yeah, it was like we did make that connection, but we walked away from it just being like, why is it
impossible to meet people?
Yeah, why did it take that for anyone to... And it was almost like they were surprised that we were talking to them, that like there was a new person who was... It was just a weird vibe, and there also weren't many young married people there either. It was a lot of young singles.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't... It wasn't working for us.
Which we were in a weird... With the young married thing, we were in a weird middle spot where we were about to have a baby.
Yeah.
So we knew we were moving out, like even further out of the young singles.
Right.
But we were still young, married, but we weren't young family yet. So we didn't really even know where we fit or what we needed to be finding or.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've talked to other people who have had the exact same experience with that church. So it definitely confirms that it was a culture thing and not just us.
And I think it was that there were some things at that church that got worse. And I think we just went at a really bad time in their course of their story as a church. Like there were a lot of things that were just getting unhealthy and whatever.
Yeah. Stuff hit the fan.
It was just a bad time to be there. And we ended up kind of just deciding, let's move on.
Yeah. So we ended up visiting another church that I loved. From the first Sunday, I loved it so much, and there weren't that many reasons to love it. I just was like, I want to be here so bad.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And we ended up not going there after, a couple Sundays? Probably just 3.
It was, I think we went 3 Sundays, and every time you loved it. You liked the worship. You liked the preaching. Mm-hmm. People were nice.
The pastor was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason that we ended up leaving is something that I have really thought a lot about. Mm-hmm. And I've gone back and forth in my head and looking at even just like scripture and stuff, whether looking back on it, this was a justified decision to make, which it was basically just they were in the process of, or they had just started to ordain women as pastors. Mm-hmm. They were like, they had this distinction where they were saying, hey, we are led by a team of elders who are all male, but then there are women who are functioning in these roles as, they call them pastor, and they have their ministry that they're over. They're like, the children's director at a lot of churches. They wouldn't call them a pastor. They're calling them a pastor. Mm-hmm. And it was a shift that they were making. And I think I was still in a very hard line seminary place in my head and my heart that I didn't even really give it a chance. Like, I just sort of said, like, nope, they're
also, we talked to your parents about it, yeah. And your dad very strongly,
he was like,
fell on that side of it. Yeah, and I think most often at that point, if your dad said it, then you were like, well, obviously that's true.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, I'm going to go with that. And
you've been trained to do your whole life. Like, that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do. But also, my dad's a very wise man.
He is.
And, like, he just knows his Bible, and he's really committed to, like, good doctrine. And so, like...
But you had never...
I had never really...
experienced or explored disagreeing with him on something?
No, like, if I feel differently about something, then I must be wrong. It's kind of like... And so, while I still don't exactly know where I would come down on that if I had to make that decision today, it would have been a much more thoughtful process because... And also, that was we were pretty early in marriage, and that was... I had a pretty hard, like... No, you need to submit to me in this too. Like, I'm saying we can't go to this church, which I don't know if I would have gone about it that way now.
That was really hard.
Yeah.
I was sad for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Actually, probably longer. It was probably not until...
I think you're still sad.
Like, yeah, a little.
This was 4 years ago.
But actually really sad, it was probably not until like a year ago that I got over it.
Yeah.
Because every time we talked about it, I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
I want to go there so bad.
I know, and I think that was definitely me misunderstanding even what like headship was supposed to look like in submission, because I wasn't really giving even just conversations about it at the time of day. I was just like, no, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Move on, and that was just really unloving, I think.
Yeah. I think if we had come to the same conclusion, I really wanted to, and you just didn't feel like it was right, we would have done the same thing.
But after a lot more conversation and a lot more like really deliberating about it, and yeah. Anywho, that was
that church.
That church that we visited.
So yeah, this church that we go to now, Matthew's parents they moved up back to Kansas City like 2 months before
2 months before us,
and they were going to this church. They had become members. They were fully plugged in at this church at this point.
We had visited it with them when we were up here one Sunday.
Yeah,
like just visiting them after they had moved up here.
So and I had been like, oh, absolutely not. We're not doing that. No.
Because it was, one, it was my parents' church, but then also
and experiencing that in Great Bend, I was like, I don't want to do that again.
But then it was also like just the exact kind of church that was, it's different from the church in Great Bend in a lot of ways, but the same, cut from the same cloth, like same doctrine, same culture, same whatever.
Yeah.
And so, it was kind of off the table for you. Mm-hmm.
Which is why absolutely not. We're not doing that.
Which is why when we moved up here, we were visiting these other churches as our kind of just first options.
Yeah. But eventually we decided to just visit again. Not tell anybody, like not tell your parents we were going. Yeah. Just go ourselves, see how it was organically.
As just visitors, new people.
And... we don't necessarily have to talk about that experience, but we were excited about it.
It was very warm and welcoming.
Yeah.
Like the reception that we got was such a refreshing thing after having been really out of place at the churches we've been visiting. It was just like people were extremely social and just like kind of wanted to meet us. Like, oh, you're new. Hi, what's your name? Welcome. Just.
Yeah.
And that was, anyway, continue.
I think after we visited, we were kind of like, okay, maybe, I don't know. As we kept visiting, I think I got to the point where I was like, it's not bad, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever was like, I dislike it. But I think I was just like, it's kind of dry.
Yeah, right. The worship,
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know that I really want to do that. And you were... like in.
Yeah. Because my parents' church, and like I said earlier, like if I really, really respect what my dad has to say about things and his judgment.
Both do, for sure.
Yeah, his judgment on this is like, and I could see too a lot of the signs of it being a really healthy church. Just like the pastors were super humble. It seemed like they were really committed to preaching the Bible, like just accurately.
Yeah. And
so like it was there was a lot of just like green flags of this is a good church to be in. Yeah. But ultimately, yeah, it came down to a decision of like, we don't know, one, where else we want to visit, two, how much longer we want to be visiting churches, because it was months of just feeling like it was going nowhere.
Also, let's throw in that I was very
pregnant. Yeah. And I think we had the pressure in our minds of like, we want to be settled somewhere before we have the baby and before we're like not in a season to be, which is a fair thing, I think.
Also, I was just so ill.
Yeah.
I was so sick.
You were.
We were living with your parents. We are exhausted all the time.
We've been moving a bunch, like constantly just like looking at houses. We're putting stuff in a storage unit. And so it ended up coming down to just, hey, this is a healthy church. There's a lot of good community here. It's, my parents' church, so we have them there, which is like we can't appreciate how much of a blessing that is to have my parents at our church on Sundays, especially now having kids. And ultimately, it was just like Maya's not thrilled about this, but because I feel good about it and we need a church, we just kind of were like, okay,
yeah,
let's do it.
Also, I did not have any words or ways to describe what I wanted. I didn't have any, the Bible says this, and I think that, like, there was nothing for me. Yeah. It was just like, I was kind of just going off vibes, to be honest. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I don't have any concrete reasons I can say no. Besides, I don't like the worship very much, and there's no black people. So I guess this is fine. And it was just kind of me submitting to you, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just another example of us not fully, not understanding what submission is supposed to look like, and like how we both honor each other in it and all those things.
Yeah. So. I think also like in that time we were both a lot less spiritually mature.
Very much so.
Than we are now. But you also were in the middle of just figuring out a lot of stuff, Like you were even just figuring out what it looked like to be, this was going on for both of us, figuring out what it looked like to be an adult and be married and have our own thoughts about things. But then also, you're just like, you're figuring out your relationship with church. And at the time, I think this was prideful of me, but I was like, I have a much more firm grasp or understanding on what church life is supposed to look like as a Christian because of my upbringing than you do. Like, that was my rationale, was like, you have a relationship with church, it's a little rocky, and if it's better to lean one way or the other, it's better to lean toward just being really hardcore with, you got to be there every Sunday, whatever. And so I think I kind of invalidated you because I just thought like, well, you're just you're a little bit spiritually immature. You don't really know even what's right or what you're supposed to do or want in a church. And so I definitely didn't listen to you in this whole season the way that I should have. I don't think that was very honoring to you, that I was that way. And so like, I don't know. Looking back, do you think that if you were you, well, it's hard. I can't even ask that question. I was going to say, if you were you now, how different would your experience of looking at churches be?
I don't know, honestly. I think things have changed so rapidly for me in the last months.
Yeah.
Like this year, I feel like every month something changes. I feel like even the times that we voted at church, it's been the next month that I'm like, I should have voted a different way. Like I just, things are changing a lot, and I'm like taking in so much, especially in the seasons of actually like reading my Bible and stuff. I'm just like absorbing a lot and growing a lot right now. And so, I don't know.
And you have a lady who disciples you.
Yeah.
And you're learning a lot from her also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like surrounded by a lot of really solid people. So,
yeah.
I honestly have no idea. I think I am much more secure in my voice in our marriage.
Yeah.
And so I probably would have been more vocal, and I think I would have probably handled it with more grace.
Yeah.
And just like humility. Because I think we just argued a lot.
We did. We were just we
were bickery,
contentious.
Yeah. But yeah,
I was an ass a lot of the time. Like I just was a jerk for no reason sometimes, I think. Just because I wanted you to fall in line or whatever. Like that's what,
We're in a good place now. High five.
Now, we're both asses, but it's funny. Yeah, and I like I said, I could have handled it with a lot more humility and a lot more grace. Because I just a lot of pride behind how I was operating and thinking that I knew everything and that I was kind of just had all the answers. Now I'm realizing I have no answers for anything or anyone.
We should do an episode on, like for you specifically, on what it's like to be a husband and like the call of being a husband. Because I can't imagine.
Be a good couple episodes to do
as
like
a 20-year-old
wife version and a husband version.
Yeah. Thinking about the ones that the parish just did.
Shout out Jackie and Preston.
But I'm thinking like as a 20-year-old, how do you not know the weight of this calling and just immediately go into, well, I got to lead, so I got to lead,
Yeah. It's hard. It's so hard to have any humility and also it's like we're just basically kids. It's like there's no
children.
You didn't trust me that I was making mature decisions, and I didn't trust you that you were thinking maturely because we weren't. But also I don't know how.
But we knew we should be, so yeah.
We're just trying our best, and so much of it was just like it was the moment that it was, and I don't know how differently it even could have gone because hindsight is 20/20, and we have so much perspective now.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's accurate to your experience at that time, the way that we're talking about the process of us becoming members at our church?
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like the way that you're talking about it, it was 100% just you settling and you never really even wanting to do it. But that's not my memory is that you had more actual desire than that. I could be wrong.
I think once we chose our church, I was on a fairly similar page with wanting to become members. But I don't know that I remember really wanting to join that church. I think. Oh, what is that?
A bug? Just a little fly, a little gnat.
That's not. It's a moth.
A moth. Mini moth.
Big gnat. It flew at me, guys.
We're okay.
I almost died.
She's alive, guys.
I made it. Never would have made it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think I do. What I remember is feeling hesitant, and I don't know how often I actually communicated that.
Yeah.
I also remember throwing up all the time. So I don't remember that much, I was so sick.
There was also, I think probably some of what I'm interpreting as remembering you having more positive feelings is there was probably just like for both of us a relief of just like we have a church now.
Yeah. Also, I was trying to just like be there,
Yeah, right.
Like you were so excited about it and you're like, this is where we're going to go. I really think this is it. And I was just like, okay, we can do this. This is fine.
Yeah. Trying to just psych yourself up a little bit. Anyway, is that better?
Yeah. Is it good?
Yeah.
It looks good. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. She adjusted her microphone. This is an audio only medium.
I keep remembering that because I'm like nodding along with you. And then I'm like, oh, no one can see me. I should say something so that people know I agree with this.
Nod.
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 But
yeah, that's kind of like the process and the background of how we got to our current spot, our current church.
Yeah. How long are we at?
We're at 45.
Okay, we could probably finish.
I think we could
everything up to the specifics, and then do a second episode.
Yeah, we're gonna make a part 2, guys. This is long. What things would you say, like, from the? I'm just looking at the next question on here. What has, like, how has your mindset shifted since then?
Like, what was important and is
not anymore? Yeah, what was important and is not important. How have you grown? And how have you, like you said, how have you become more confident in what you believe or think about everything, but also about church?
I think that's a really good question. And
thank you. You wrote it.
You expounded. Yeah, that's the word. Okay. Why is the drum set leaning?
Stop. ADHD.
I think Ezra ran into it, actually.
Oh, for sure he did.
He tripped on it.
Dog, I just watched you full on ADHD. You just left. This conversation was not happening anymore. Your brain was like, that's all I'm going to think about now.
It's leaning.
It's probably our.
Yeah, no, he fell off the chair because he was being disobedient. Then he dropped the drumsticks that he tried to put on. And then he tripped on the whole drum set. Then he got on the couch and fell off the couch. It was a whole moment.
Bruh.
It was a whole moment. Anyway. I'm back. I'm focused.
She's back, guys.
Okay, how has my mindset shifted? I think that I may have just gotten saved in March. And I think that probably, like
70 or 80% sure.
Yeah. And I think through that, I have come to a place where I am actually experiencing the Lord's grace and like freedom in my faith. And I feel like for the first time ever, I'm like not beholden to these works, this constantly doing things to try to gain or keep my salvation. And yeah, I think that that's been a huge mindset shift. Because as far as church specifically, just one thing would be how we can serve. I think when we joined our church, something I thought about was the fact that I didn't feel like there were many places I could serve. Yeah. And I didn't like that. Because I felt like there had to be something like perfect for my gifts, a specific, like, tangible, structured way that I could serve.
Yeah.
And we just don't have that many ministries to serve in.
No.
And I don't think that'd be that big of a deal anymore. Like, I think the Lord has, like,
you're just more confident in your role.
I feel like I'm on a weird tangent that's really, really specific, and I've lost the plot.
No, just how things have shifted for you, your mindset.
Yeah.
This goes into that.
Okay. Yeah. Specifically for that, just like, I feel like I am actually hearing from the Holy Spirit, and I feel like I am coming into or starting to understand slowly the Lord's purposes for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not just unsure and unsteady all the time.
Yeah, you seem about 15 times more confident than you've ever been.
Thanks.
Just in your faith, but also just in general.
Yeah.
In your decision making and your whatever.
Agree with that. Yeah. From the inside. I've got the inside scoop, and it's got inside track.
On yourself?
On myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just am not, like, always unsure of things. In life, I can just make decisions, like you said, but also I don't feel insecure all the time. I don't feel unsure of my place all the time. And which going into church, amazing. I know, going into our church, I don't fit in. I just really don't.
Yeah.
And that used to be a cause of a lot of like, I don't even know what the word is. I can't think of the word that I'm trying to think of. I don't know. It was upsetting.
Was it?
It was really frustrating, and I felt insecure all the time, and I felt
Did you feel like there was something wrong with you? Was that part of it?
Yeah, it was really hard not to try to morph into the people around me. And I just felt like I will never be right here. I'm always doing something wrong.
Yeah. Which is interesting because it's not like that has changed. That the root thing being, I don't know if I'll ever fit here.
No.
But it's not because... Now it's not because you'll always do something wrong or you'll not be like enough. It's that you're very confident in who you are, and you realize you are who you are, and that's who God made you to be.
Yeah.
Which is
and
interesting.
I'm not always associating it with my salvation. That was a big part of it. Being surrounded by these people who are very sure of their faith, and I wasn't. And I'm like, man, maybe that means XYZ about my faith. Maybe I'm really not. Maybe I'm whatever.
Or even like, man, look at how immature I am and how mature they are. Or something like that.
I compared a lot, and I just do that less, I think. Yeah, the Lord has just helped me to do that less, and I am who I am. And I'm always changing. It's not that I'm not changing or giving room for that, but I just am not insecure. I'm not constantly thinking about how someone perceives me in a moment. And I'm aware of it because you kind of always are when you're just very different from the people around you. But, yeah, I don't know.
It's just not a source of a bunch of self-doubt or negativity in your emotions.
Yeah. It's not something I'm like ruminating on all the time and getting really upset about, and it was for a long time. So
it's been really cool to see all that happen in you.
Jeez.
The way that the Lord has just like, I don't know, worked in your heart and changed you, and like maybe you've been saved in this whole thing, but just the person that you have become and how much more confident you are and how much more, I don't know, just like kind-hearted, gracious, loving. It's just really cool. I love you.
I love you too.
So I don't know, I guess that probably naturally leads us to the point of like, okay, so what specific things are like...
Wait, you didn't say how your mind, how have you shifted?
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. I think for me, I kind of already touched on this. Like, what shifted for me is that I've had the bubble burst of this one theological and church box where it's like, we've got the Reformed theology, we've got the certain way that people dress, we've got the music that is not just like super doctrinal, but also no extraness, no frills. Yeah, like really simple, minimalist worship that's just like meant to be super corporate, and if it can't be too loud and it can't be too showy and it can't whatever. And then like just even some of the theology and the evangelical thing, even just some of the extreme complementarianism with, there's not really a role for women in leading and whatever. I've been able to just see that that's, like I said earlier, one way of doing it, and that it really is founded on the Bible, and it's like a really, really good effort to interpret the Bible, but that it's not the be all and end all, and that there is so much more gray area than we like to act like, and that people in the circle of that in our church and then the circles that we find ourselves in right now like to act like there is. Like there is so much more that is just either unknowable or unspecified. And there's a lot more room for expressing our faith differently. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I've gotten outside of it. And like I said, I owe a lot of that to God putting you in my life and being around you and your family and just like people from a very different background than me. That like even just knowing that exists, but then also that there's a lot of beauty in it and a lot of just like it puts you face to face with a different world and a different expression of Christianity that otherwise you would just write off as like, well, they're wrong. And like I said, there's a lot of people who just live their whole life in that and never are confronted with it to do the hard work of like considering someone else's perspective truly. It's just like, well, if they're not in my bubble, then they're wrong. And so that bubble has been burst for me. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's still a lot of stuff that I love about even just the strain of theology with, like, I do believe in predestination because I think the Bible says that pretty clearly. And I do believe in male elders in the church. And I do believe in worship in spirit and truth. That like worship that's all vibes and no truth is wrong. Mm-hmm. But I do also believe that outside of an elder, there's a lot of room for a woman to serve in the church, to be in leadership roles in the church. I don't think it's wrong to call them a pastor. I think that there's a lot more room for worship that's a lot more diverse in the style, even in the lyrics and what it's about, that leads people to worship and to connect with God vertically and not just horizontally, And I think that there's a lot of, even just in interpretations of different passages with spiritual gifts and stuff like that, there's a lot more room for variance on that. And so, yeah, that's kind of happened slowly for me over the last couple of years.
Especially this last year.
Yeah, this last year a lot is...
I think we've both grown spiritually a lot this
last year. We
have.
Year. A lot has changed, and I've been able to see, like... I feel like my eyes have just kind of been opened, like there were blinders on, and now I can see, like, hey, there's a wide world out there. And while I'm not saying that every denomination or type of church is right, there's a lot less of them that are wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not this way or the highway, and it's not this is the true church, other churches are not the true church,
Yeah.
And so that doesn't really, I don't know, that hasn't led either us out, like it hasn't caused us to want to, at this exact moment, jump ship and leave our church because we're still here, and we'll get into that a little bit, but it makes me more open, is what I would say. It makes me more like, even with what church we go to in the future, but also just with people and like whose perspectives I'm willing to listen to. Mm-hmm. Because it used to be that, I'm going to listen to and agree with only things that John Piper says. Mm-hmm. And like, I'll read the Gospel Coalition because that's an approved source, but anyone else, I don't want to hear what they have to say, mm-hmm. And I've just, my eyes have kind of been open to see that people from all different backgrounds and walks of life have wisdom to offer and perspective that's meaningful and not just misguided or whatever.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I think that's what I would say.
Nice. I was going to say for mine, another mindset shift has been like not feeling really pressured to believe things anymore. When you don't really have much that you believe, everything around you is just really loud, It's just like, it feels like walking through a market with people just being like, believe this, believe this, believe this, believe this.
Yeah.
And when you're surrounded by really loud people who believe things really, really strongly, it's hard not to be immediately swayed towards those things. At least it was for me. And so another shift has just been, it's not as easy for me to immediately be like, well, I guess that must be right. You know, I'm just like, I don't like that. But what does the Bible say about it? Which I'm grateful for because, I don't know. I think I sometimes before had that in just in words, you know. I'm supposed to say, what does the Bible say about that? So I do. But now I actually have the conviction to know what God says about something. And also I think I just have enough of a framework to make my own, like come to my own conclusions on things. Like based on what this says, I don't agree with that. That is not the side of the line I come down on. Yeah. I'm still really working on not being judgmental and not making it we're on opposite sides of the line, you know, because it can make me very frustrated, especially when there are people who are very, very loud and very strongly believe things that are just not necessary things. They're not salvific. They're not like, that's not, no. Yeah. No, it makes sense. Why are we being divided over this thing? But the Lord's still working on my heart.
It could be easy to go too far the opposite way and all of a sudden become too staunch on, like all of a sudden you're super staunch on there are not these things that you have to be super staunch on, you know. Another thing I would say about how things have shifted for me, and then maybe we can wrap up this half and move on.
That sounds good.
But I have come to realize, because another thing that I came up in was kind of this idea that being someone who wanted certain things out of church made you, the word that's always thrown around is consumeristic. That you're shopping around and thinking of church like a shopping mall that has different stores you can go in, and it's all about what I want and not how God can use me and how, like, where I'm being called to be and how to serve, whatever. And I've just realized that I don't think that that's true. I don't think that and I think the root thing of that is just that, which is good, is that culture, type of church, type of worship, whatever, are not the most important thing. And that what unifies people is the gospel and not any one expression or any whatever.
Both true things.
Yes. But I think the problem is that in that line of thinking, it can be very narrow-minded, because it could be really easy for someone in a white evangelical space to look at you and say, well, you know, you want the worship to be more gospel-y, or you want the preaching to be more fiery, or you want there to be less overemphasis on sin all the time. And what you're doing is actually just, you want to cherry pick and you want to build your own kind of church, because how the worship is shouldn't matter, and wanting the preaching to be a certain way is not the most important thing, because it's the gospel that's the most important thing. The problem with it is that a lot of the time there are people who kind of come at it that way are really ignorant, because they don't realize that it's just that they do like the worship and that they do like the preaching, because they could go to what the heck was that? That was my throat. They do like the preaching, and like even the wanting people who are like wanting to not be the only black person in the room. People can look at you and say, well, that's just you caring more about culture than about the gospel or about church. But that person who said that is in a room with 195 other people who look exactly like them and have the same background as them. And they're incredibly happy with the style that's going on up on the stage. And they can kind of turn it around on someone else and say that if you don't feel that way, then you're just being consumeristic. When really, that same argument would be, hey, if you're at a black church, if this hypothetical person is in a black church where they're preaching the gospel, there is no heresy coming from the pulpit, there is salvation by faith alone, Christ alone, And the worship is not like heretical either. And it's just real black, real gospel-y. The preacher is hooping, whatever. And they walk out of that church and they say, yeah, I couldn't see myself there. They're doing the same. They're being quote unquote consumeristic because they have preferences. Yeah. And the church that they are in, that they're kind of flipping that around on you and just serves their preferences. And they are around a lot of people who have the same background as them. And so I just think it can be narrow-minded, and it can be a way to honestly excuse away a lack of diversity and make themselves feel better about the fact that they are in a white church and that they it's not designed for any one type of person because it's the gospel. It's like, no, it is designed for one type of person. And whether or not...
And it just happens naturally. That happens with everything we do. There are schools that are black schools. There are schools that are white schools. There are just separations that happen because they do. Because certain types of people are drawn to certain types of music. Yeah. And because certain types of people are drawn to certain types of, I don't know, graphics even that you use for marketing. Like, that's just what happens. Certain demographics, certain ages, that's just normal.
And sometimes it's a really valiant thing to try to take away those barriers, because ultimately the kingdom of God is every tribe, tongue, and nation. Like, it is, there is a unification of all these different people, but something that I heard, I think it was Jackie Hill Perry say, was like, when I get to heaven, I'm going to be worshiping how I worship. We're not going to all be standing around in a circle singing a Baptist hymn. It's like people are going to be expressing their worship of God, how they express their worship of God. And the fact that it's from every tribe, tongue, and nation actually means that there is so much diversity and so many different cultures represented who all express themselves in different ways, and that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we can't reduce the gospel and the expression of worship and also gatekeep good theology, quote unquote, to these white evangelical spaces, and then write off other ones, and also write off people who aren't totally happy here, because it's like, that is a really Western American narrow-minded view of God's church. And so I just think it's like, and also a lot of the time it's like, this is something that I've challenged you on before, I think, is like, when you're there's something for you to learn from these people and from this space. Like,
it's so easy for me to check out and just be like, I don't want to be here. And I just shut down completely, and I'm not taking in anything.
But then in the same way, like, people write you off also and think that they have nothing to learn from you, and from other backgrounds, other types of churches in general, that, like, don't fall into line. Because, like I said, the sect that I come from, we just love to make it out to be that we're the ones who got it right. We've figured it out, we've got the formula, and anyone else is just reading the Bible wrong or whatever. And I've seen how misguided that is and how narrow-minded that is. It works if you're in it. It works if you're from that background, and you can be real sanctified. It's not like there's something wrong if you're in that, but it's not all there is. And I don't know.
I wonder if some of that, just looking at our cultures, I wonder if some of that is just like whatever pride you do or don't have in your race, in your culture.
White
like
guilt.
I wonder if I went to an all Hispanic church, if it would be the same. I doubt it, because the way that I am,
that makes sense.
People respond to me when I say I wish that, I want whatever differences that I would prefer. I wonder if I was to go to an all Hispanic church, if they would be like, well, yeah, you don't speak Spanish, so like,
yeah, no, you're right, because it's a unique thing that white culture in general is the only culture that's not proud of itself. It's like, white guilt.
Got a lot of shame.
Is a thing, yeah. And so we're not proud of our race and of our background or whatever.
So I feel like there's no empathy for, or
someone
even,
who is proud of being having the skin color they have, or
can say it.
Yeah. It's almost like, well, that's just,
no, I want the music I like.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, that's pride.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean,
I feel like so often people can't even like conceptualize or begin to understand what I could even possibly mean when I say those things.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of that has to do with that.
That's a good point, because like there's no frame of reference for being happy to be the race that you are from the culture that you are.
And also just usually most of the people in our church have probably been in the majority their entire lives.
Right. They've never been in a space where they weren't the primary one.
No.
Something that I say a lot about when we talk about this is that we try to, like, in these spaces, they try to take culture out of it. They try to say culture, background is not what unites us. It's Jesus who unites us. Mm-hmm. Very true. But they like to ignore the fact, or just never see the fact, that actually there are deep cultural bonds that they have that they just take as default. Mm-hmm. Like when there's a potluck, the kind of foods that they eat, they'll bond over K-State football all day. And like, that's just regular small talk type of stuff that just, you're cut from the same cloth. And so you don't realize that you're bonding over culture constantly.
Yeah.
And it's in the background so much that you don't even realize it. And you only notice it whenever it's somebody who's different. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, we don't do culture. We do Jesus. It's like, yeah, we do a lot of culture. It's just, for, like you said, you've been in the majority for so long, you don't know that that's a culture and experience of life,
Yeah.
So, anywho.
This is a good place to end this first part.
Last thing I'll say, another thing from the Perrys, they just be spitting bars on with the Perrys. Preston says this a lot, which I think is really good. He always says, when he talks about this experience, he says, God didn't save me from my culture, he saved me for my culture. I think that's really good. That, like, being saved, and Jackie said this on that same episode, like, he didn't save you from your personality. When you were saved, he began the process of sanctifying you to remove the sin so that you can actually become the most fulfilled and full version of the person that he made you to be. So like, everything is wrapped into that, your background, your makeup, your identity, and he actually wants you to be the fullest version of that. They can express that the most fully with no sin getting in the way of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know, that's a really beautiful thing. And I think we just, in the white evangelical world, we miss that a lot. We miss other perspectives and other types of people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. If you listen this far, we gotta have a comment thing. What did we talk about in the beginning? Oh, comment that you listen to Matthew's new single. That's what you're gonna do. As soon as you go and listen to his new single, it's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on all the places, right?
Yeah, it's should be on all the streaming services.
Yeah.
No, it's all Noble in all caps, period.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the stylized name.
Yeah.
You can look it up. It should come up. Also, we'll link to it in our show notes and our like post about this episode and stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks for hyping me up, babe.
It's so good. Once you listen to it, comment a lyric that you really liked.
Aww.
That's what we're gonna do.
He's so sweet.
Yeah, show my baby some love.
He's so sweet, baby. I love you.
I love you.
All right. We will talk at you. That's what Rhett and Link say. We'll talk at you next week. But for us, it'll be in 5 minutes. For them, it'll be the next time they listen to this podcast.
I don't know how long it'll be before we post the next one. Probably like a day.
Either way, later, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
You are faithful to your every promise. Oh, what sweet assurance. Every word is true. You will never fail us, though our foes assail us. When the night is darkest, we will trust in you. 'cause you are faithful.